everybody and welcome back to my channel. This is going to be one of the fastest intros we're ever going to have to do because I need to leave for work. But I wanted to intro this before I started the first book of this video. There's only going to be 2, so it might be a little bit of a shorter video. But today we are going to be reading traditionally published Dramione Fanfics. Yeah, I'm so excited for it. The second I saw both of these books on 2 like side-by-side tables in Waterstones, I knew that I had to film this video and I had to like read these books together like back to back. I just think it would be so much fun. So the first one is Rose in Chains by Julie Soto, and I think this is a bit of a darker one. I mean, look, I think it's a bit of a dark one. You guys know I don't go in knowing anything, but I think this is set after the events of the Deathly Hallows. It says the war is over, the dark forces have won, and the hero who's supposed to save them is dead. So I think this is basically a version of Harry Potter where Voldemort won, Harry's dead, and like, now what? So it's going to be a bit of a darker one. But then we also have The Irresistible Urge to Fall in Love with Your Enemy. Oh, to fall for your enemy, sorry. The Irresistible Urge to Fall for Your Enemy. And I think this one is set more where they're at the school, I think. But I don't really know what this one is about at all. But we're actually going to start with this one, so I will be able to tell you very shortly what this one is about because I'm going to start reading it on the train in like 5 minutes. But yeah, I'm assuming, I could be completely wrong, but I'm assuming that this is going to be a little bit of a lighter one, which is why I'm starting with it, and then Rose in Chains is going to be a bit heavier and darker. And I really feel like that encapsulates like the 2 kind of ways you can go with a Dramione fanfic, because they can be really dark, or we get like the really soft, sappy side of Draco, and they're really like light and fun. So we're going to start with The Irresistible Urge to Fall for Your Enemy, and I will let you guys know how it goes. Obviously, I know that the characters aren't going to be called Draco and Hermione. I know we're not going to be at Hogwarts, blah, 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 but we can, you know, kind of deduce our own theories on how it would have been as an actual Dramione fanfic, because I didn't read them when they were fanfics. So that is today's video. I'm going to go and start this one on the train and read it at work, and I will be home at about 6:37 to give you guys my first impressions and first thoughts of The Irresistible Urge to Fall for Your Enemy. It is now, what? I've been home from work for ages, but I haven't read anything yet this evening. I've just been playing Sims, and honestly it was nice because I got to play a bunch of Sims and still have like a very solid amount of reading time. But I did read a bunch of this book while I was at work today, as much as I could. I only get 1 break on Sundays, so it wasn't as much as my typical reading time. But I managed to get, it's actually really annoying on the train back. I had to finish here. Isn't that so annoying? Literally half a page before a new chapter. It really bothered me. I tried and I was like, no, I need to get off. Anyway, I read 83 pages today, just on the train and in my break, which I would say is pretty good. And let's talk initial thoughts and what this book is about. So we're following 2 different characters. We're following Osric and Orianne, and there is like a bunch of different orders within this book. Guys, by the way, so different to Harry Potter. Like, it must have been like completely reconstructed as like to be traditionally published as a novel, because I'm not seeing any similarities. Like, honestly, I'm trying to put Harry Potter like out of my mind so that it doesn't like ruin this reading experience, because it's so different, and if I keep comparing it to Harry Potter I'm going to be disappointed because it's nothing like it. Okay, so we have all of these different orders. I don't even know all of them. All I know is that his is the assassin order and hers is the healer order, right? So basically, just in like basic common sense, they're obviously opposites. She's working to heal people and cure diseases and whatnot, and he is an assassin, right? But something happened. He had a really bad injury not too long ago, and in this book it's not necessarily like magic. You actually have something which I believe is pronounced saith, And Seth is basically their magic, right? And in this thing, your Seth almost has like its own nervous system within your body, and it kind of runs alongside your nervous system. And he has got this basically uncurable disease that will slowly stop his Seth from working, stop him having magic. The only thing is, in the assassin's order that he is a part of, wait, hold on. What is the order called? Freyan? Hold on. Firen, I think. Firen. In his Firen order, if you don't have your Seth, you are useless and they basically kill you. Like, you no longer serve a purpose to the order, so they do not need you, so they kill you off, right? So this is detrimental for him. He cannot have this disease, and basically a bunch of the options for this disease are like to cut off all the nerve endings so that it can't spread and kill you and you just lose your Seth. But that's not an option for him, you know? Basically his options are die or die, because he either cuts off his Seth and then his order kills him, or he lets this disease kill him, right? And then through the grapevine of like healers or whatever, he hears that Orianne might know some like old ways that can help him, but he knows that she categorically will not help him because of his order, right? So he has to think up some ways to get her to help him. And it's a really cool concept, honestly. Like, I'm intrigued by it. I'm just kind of racking my brain to see how this could have worked in a Harry Potter concept. But it's very interesting. But that's basically the general premise of this book. I will say, if you're a fan of, like, Assistant to the Villain, I would say it kind of reads similar to that slightly. It's giving me similar vibes. Like, there's a lot of silly banter. There's a lot of, like, goofy things. Like, he's like, oh yeah, you know, I'll just kidnap her then if she won't agree. Like a classic thing to do. And they're kind of making jokes out of it, and it's very humorous. So even though, like, obviously kidnapping is such a serious thing, it's very lighthearted and humorous within this book. And that's why it's reading like Assistant to the Villain. But yeah, so currently I am 83 pages in, and we've kind of started the process of working out if there's anything that can be done for him. And I am intrigued. I am enjoying it so far. I actually had a little peek on Goodreads, and this is the lower rated of the two. This is like a 3.8, I think, on Goodreads, which is interesting. There's also a lot to learn, and I do kind of dislike when a book gives you like a glossary and like an index of what these different terms are. They will just never explain it to you in text, which I dislike. I'm not enjoying that. Like, for example, it's like glossary and it gives you these words, so then they're just not being explained. And then we have like the orders and what they are and kind of a very brief history on them, so that's not really been explained. And then we have like a definition of each order, so those also haven't really been explained, which I'm not liking about the book. I wish we had some more like in context explanations. I think it just always makes it a lot easier to comprehend, even if the definitions are pretty straightforward. It's nice to see them in context always. But other than that, I am very intrigued by this one. I am enjoying it, and I'm gonna sit here and hopefully read at least another 100 pages, but I have like an hour or so to read, like an hour and a half, so we can just see how much I will get done. But so far I'm definitely enjoying this one, and I'm very intrigued on how the story is gonna go. evening, everybody. I haven't spoken to you guys like all day, but you would have seen that we baked some cookies and ignore this. I had a shower today. But it's 9 p.m. We're actually making pizza for dinner, but we forgot that you have to let the dough rise. So now it's going to be a really late dinner, and we're just going to try some of the cookies that we made. We've made these before. These are the M&S triple chocolate chunk cookies. They're so good. They're honestly so good. We have a plate of them here. We will be moving them to a pot, but I thought they looked fun on a plate, so we will be eating those shortly. I thought I would update you guys because I'm planning to finish this book like now, probably while we wait for dinner. Actually, I'll end up finishing this book. Yeah, I have 100 pages left of The Irresistible Urge to Fall for Your Enemy, and yeah, look, I really don't have a lot left, so we're gonna end up finishing this book in 2 days, which I'm so happy about because I feel like I've been in like a 3-month-long slump, and I haven't like finished a book this quickly without trying in a really long time, so I'm very happy about how quickly I've managed to get through this book. In terms of how I'm feeling about it, it's definitely nothing special. I don't think it's going to be particularly memorable for me, sadly. It's very different to, I think, what I was expecting from it, but that's what happens when you don't read blurbs and you just go into the books. You're not really going to be able to predict accurately what the book is going to be about. But one thing I am loving about this story is the banter and the jokes between all characters. I feel like some people could not like it because I feel like every character has like the same sense of humor, but it's like my sense of humor. Like, it's so dry. Like, for example, let me give you an example. So our main character Oriane is basically discovering that she's gonna have to do something difficult, and she's gonna have to do it, and she's just gonna have to like be a brave person and do it, right? And they're joking around, and she goes, "Good thing about my blimp-sized bollocks." And then the woman that she's speaking to, Xanthi, just goes, "May they carry you swiftly and may the winds be fair." And it's just like a really dry, sarcastic, inappropriate sense of humor. There is a lot of sexual jokes in this book, not like explicit, but just sexual in nature, and they're funny. Like, I think at one point Oriane had her ankles and feet out in front of Osric, and he goes, "Quickly put them away, lest my loins be stirred." And honestly, that's just like, it's like medieval English. I just realised that's probably so loud, but it's just like medieval English, like silly jokes, and honestly I have been giggling, and I think that's what I will remember this book for, nothing else. The romance is inexplicably slow burn, and I know some people love that, but honestly it's like breadcrumbs at this point. Like, there's really not a lot, and the plot is kind of confusing to keep up with. Like, honestly, I don't really know what's going on. I'm just here for the vibes, but the vibes are great. The vibes are very medieval, nothing like Harry Potter, nothing like Dramione, I will say. Like, the character of Osric feels very different to Draco, but the character of Oriane does feel similar to Hermione, so do with that what you will. I'm trying, like I said, I'm trying not to judge it on Harry Potter because they have been changed to be nothing like Harry Potter so that they don't get sued. So I wasn't expecting it to be like just a Dramione fanfic with the names changed. Except maybe I was. I don't know, it's very different. But it's giving like very medieval England, but with like a fantasy landscape and medieval sort of customs and societal expectations, I guess you could say, in terms of like, yeah, Oriane having her ankles and feet out was scandalous. You know what I mean? But that's where we're at with this one. We have, yeah, 100 pages left, so I'm just going to sit and hopefully finish this before dinner, but if not, I will finish it just after dinner. I actually don't think I spoke to you guys before I went out, but regardless, I'm home now. It's like 7:30. I'm actually really tired and I'm feeling really anxious for some reason. I have 3 kind of hefty days ahead of me in terms of work and meeting RF Kwong. That's making me nervous because I don't know what to say to her. And then I'm doing like some really long shifts to be able to see RF Kwong. So I'm doing like a 7-hour shift, which is fine. And then I'm doing 11 hours and 10 hours back to back Thursday, Friday. And it's making me feel anxious. Like, I don't know. So I'm not feeling 100% right now. I'm also really, really tired. I think that could be to do with the fact that I just played Sims for like ever. My eyes are a bit fried because I made like 5 Sims or something. Anyway, I'm a bit fried. I was gonna edit, but I think it's like making me feel weird, like looking at my computer for so long. So I think I'm gonna turn her off. Leon's back in like an hour, so I also need to make dinner, but I just got something easy. Anyway, this isn't why we're here. We're not here to talk about this. We're here to talk about the books for this vlog. So, updates. I finished The Irresistible Urge to Fall for Your Enemy, and I ended up giving this one a 3.5 star. I just felt indifferent about this one, I guess is what you could say. I felt very indifferent. I really enjoyed the banter and the humor that I was telling you guys about, but other than that, there wasn't really very many standout moments. It was extremely slow burn, and I do think, you know, people are like, oh, I love a slow burn, I love a slow burn. I think I love a middling burn, you know? I like when we're showing feelings around the halfway mark and then we act on those feelings a little bit further in. This was like we were just realizing we had feelings on like the final page. And I was like, oh, this is like really slow burn. And because of that, I wasn't feeling too much between them the whole way through. There was like a few little moments, but they were also moments that like I could have deduced myself, knowing that this is an enemies to lovers series. Like, you know, these moments I could have worked out for myself what was going on. And then the magic, like the actual plot in terms of the magic and what we were doing with that was a little bit confusing at points. I'm sounding really negative about this book. I did enjoy it. I gave it 3.5 stars. The humor really carried this book on its back. Like, let me tell you, this book is funny. And I don't want to say that like you're not going to be crying laughing, but I was like smiling a lot. I was chuckling to myself. It was funny. Okay? But that's where we're at with this one. She's all done. I finished her up. I read her in 2 days. So also, you know, do with that what you will. I read this very quickly. And then we have started Rose in Chains, and already I'm gonna tell I can tell I'm gonna prefer this one, and it's also a lot darker, more intense. Someone called it like a softer manacled, and based on the trigger warnings in the beginning of this book, like, yeah, I can see how we're gonna get to that conclusion of it being like a soft manacle, because the trigger warnings are hefty. So read that, please, if you know you have any triggers. I don't. A trigger warning isn't real unless it's like gross, like, ew, why would you even write about that? It's probably not gonna stop me from reading a book. So I'm gonna continue with this one, but if you know you have triggers, please read the trigger warnings because they aren't light. But with this one, we are following Bryony. And Bryony is a princess of this kingdom, and there is a war going on. This is what I know, by the way, from 32 pages. Bryony, yeah, is a princess of this kingdom. There's a war going on, and her twin brother Rory just went out to fight in this war, and he died. I'm trying to see if it's in the blurb. It kind of is. He died. He's dead. And now, oh my god, I've just read what's gonna happen. In the first paragraph of the blurb, it says that she's captured, stripped of her magic, and auctioned off to the highest bidder, which I imagine is where the manacled thing comes in, because she's like auctioned off, right? There was also a trigger warning for, what was it, like forced sterilization? Yeah. Yeah. Yeah, this is a heavy one. But sometimes that makes for the best book. Like, the plot is intense and rich in things that are going to drive it. I don't really know how to say that, but I think this is going to be a good book. It's going to be a heavy book. It's not going to be light by any means, but I think it's going to be a good book. I'm hoping. And literally where I'm at so far is all this has happened. She's like hiding in the castle and she's just bumped into like one of the enemy. So capture is imminent. Selling of Bryony is imminent. Also, Bryony, cute name. Cute name. And that's another thing, like Harry Potter, Bryony, Hermione, Bryony, you know? But yeah, that's literally all I know about this. I know it's obviously going to be enemies to lovers. You can't write a Draco Hermione inspired book and not have it be enemies to lovers, because they are like the original enemies to lovers. Well, that's not canon. They're the original enemies. And then us weirdos wanted them to be lovers. Yeah. I'm debating getting the audiobook for it so that I can listen along while doing various other things, such as washing up, playing Tiny Bookshop, because that's another thing we did yesterday. I bought Tiny Bookshop and I started playing that one, and it seems like it's going to be a really fun, like, cozy chill game. So it might be nice to listen to the audiobook of Rose in Chains and play a little bit of Tiny Bookshop tonight as well. Hello everyone. You may notice some differences, or you may not. So it's not the same week that I filmed this reading vlog. It's not the same month. It's not even the same year. I filmed the reading vlog that you just watched in August of 2025. And it's now the end of March in 2026, as you know, because, you know, I mean, you're not watching it in the future, are you? But yeah, it's been a minute since I filmed this vlog, so this isn't going to be the most coherent wrap up, but I didn't want to just leave the vlog where it was, because I didn't really give you any thoughts and feelings on Rose in Chains, really, and I felt like you deserved some sort of synopsis and idea of the book. But we're gonna start, like, really, you're gonna notice I don't remember anything about these books, and it's just solidified for me that when their sequels come out later in the year, I'm gonna have to reread, because I don't remember a thing. But the first book we read in this vlog was The Irresistible Urge to Fall for Your Enemy by Bridget Knightley. I gave this one 3.5 stars on Goodreads. I'm looking at my review. What I wrote, because I don't remember, I wrote that it was silly and fun, and that the banter and the jokes were fun in this, and it just felt kind of just like silly, fun time. However, the pacing was a little bit off, and the ending felt a bit like abrupt and odd is what I'm saying. I think I'm saying it was a weird place to leave everything. I think what I felt is kind of coming back to me. I'm pretty sure when I finished this book, I felt quite strongly that it could have been one book, but it wasn't, and I think that's why I felt like the ending was a bit weird, because we probably could have just wrapped everything up. But yeah. Another thing I wrote in my review, because obviously the premise of this video was reading traditionally published Dramione Fanfics, a key point I made in my review was that this didn't really feel like Dramione whatsoever, other than the fact of the physical descriptor of the male main character, and the personality of the female main character was a little bit reminiscent of Hermione, but other than that, this didn't feel like a Dramione fanfic at all. It just felt like a fun fantasy book. And I'm noticing a pattern, so I've now read 3 trad published Dramione fanfics. This one, Rose in Chains, and then Alchemized, which is, yeah, just here. And they all have this similar thing of, like, there being 2 types. Did Alchemized have this? I don't know. Both of these have this thing where there's 2 different types of magic to kind of represent, like, the good and the bad sides within HP. You know, it kind of is like the bad guys have, like, one type of magic, and then the good guys have, like, a different type of magic. And in this book, we're following... who are we following? Orianne? Ooh, I don't know. But she's a healer, and then we're following Osric, who needs healing because his strain of magic that he uses creates like a physical toll on the body, and some people get this like sickness that you can't really recover from, but I believe he was quite important, so he needed to get better, and so our female main character tries to heal him, and that's all I remember, so that's where we're gonna leave it at. But I do want to read the second book. I saw the cover recently. I think it's like this vibe but purple, and they're like facing each other instead, I think. We're gonna move on now to the next book. It's actually crazy that I remember less of this book than The Irresistible Urge to Fall for Your Enemy, because I rated this one 4.5 stars. I wrote in my review, I said potentially 4.5 stars, but it's obviously a 4 on Goodreads. Yeah, and that's Rose in Chains by Julie Soto. This one, upon reflection, is like a knockoff Alchemized, if I'm so honest, like a knockoff Manacled. It's extremely similar in its tones and themes and plot. It's quite similar. There's differences. There's also similarities, and a lot of them. Which makes me, like, in hindsight, like it a little bit less, because obviously Manacled had a very large following before this book came out, and I think there was, like, Alchemized didn't come out long after this one, so I don't know. Anyway, we're following Bryony and Tova in this one. Here they are. I always think she looks a bit like Jenny in this artwork, but we're following those. There's a bookmark in here. What the heck? Yeah, we're following these two, and we're in this world where, like I said earlier on in the video, it's basically if Harry died and Voldemort won, like, that's what this book is, and that's, like, exactly what Alchemized is too, like, at its core. And in this book, we have, like, 2 different strings of magic. Again, we have heart magic and mind magic. I forget which one's which, but obviously Bryony and Tova are, like, opposites, and she's not allowed to use her music? Her magic. Sound familiar? If you've read Alchemized, it might sound familiar. And basically, I want to say she's heart magic. I really do want to say she's heart magic, so we're gonna go with that. All the, like, female heart magic people, the people of her bloodline, her royal family, she's a princess. So in this world, she's the sister of Harry, basically. All the females are sold at auction to the highest bidders, and within this power dynamic, there's this thing, I don't remember, can you tell I don't remember, but there's somehow, some way where the girls and then the guys can, like, give magic, because I believe heart magic is, like, different or stronger or something, and so they want it, but they also shun and, like, look down on heart magic. I don't know. And then they also use them in other disgusting ways as well, of course. And in this book, Tova buys Bryony, but in, like, it's meant to be, like, a savior arc, and it's meant to portray him as, like, the good guy, because he doesn't touch her. And he doesn't, unconsensually. He does consensually. But, like, you know, he doesn't do anything like that. He doesn't take her magic, nothing like that. He parades her around a little bit so people think that something's going on, but nothing is, and it's meant to just kind of paint him as this, like, savior, which is, in hindsight, like, I'd have to reread it, because I really loved it in the moment, and I didn't read it that long ago, so who knows, I'd love to go back into it with some new lenses in and see how I feel about it. But yeah, I, however, don't remember the ending of this whatsoever. I've seen a lot of reviews saying it felt dragged out so that it could be a trilogy, and again, it could have been one book, but I couldn't tell you about that because I don't remember. But I did give it 4.5 stars, so I hope that was coherent enough, because I did read these books, like, over 6 months ago, and I don't really remember a thing, but I hope that was, like, okay. And I hope you enjoyed the reading vlog. I definitely remember having so much fun reading these, and stay tuned, because this is not the end of our this isn't the end of our Dramione journey, and there is an Alchemized reading vlog coming within the next few videos, so stay tuned, because I loved that book. That's an understatement. Just, yeah, that book was everything. But I hope you enjoyed today's video. Please like and subscribe and do all those fun YouTube things, and I will hopefully, I keep saying this, but I'll hopefully be back soon with another video.